Big day. We're going to see the mountain gorillas.
Let me tell you about my little friends. The mountain gorillas are classified as critically endangered. You might recognize them from a movie with Diane Fosse. Maybe a picture in National Geographic. You won't recognize them from being in any zoo though. They can't live in captivity. None of them have ever survived. They don't know why, it's a mystery. They think I might have something to do with the diet though. We share a lot of things in common with them. Over 98% of our DNA. Emotions too. They'll laugh if you tickle them. They'll cry if you hurt them. They also live with their families, which can get pretty big. Some are roam 40 deep throughout the jungle. There's only one area in the world where they live. So if you want to see them, you're gonna have to go to their house. That's in the motherland. Yeah, I'm talking about Africa. That area is the Virunga Mountains and Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. This area is directly on the borders of Uganda, Rwanda, and Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a combination of tropical forests, mountains, active volcanoes, swamps, home to elephants, hippos, unique birds, and rare plants. And it's no stranger to conflict. The mountain gorillas are located in one little area in the world. That's right here, and it's literally on the border of Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo. In order to see the gorillas, you need to purchase a permit from one of the three countries. Each country can issue a certain amount of permits per day. A permit in Rwanda costs $1,500. It's the most expensive, but it's the most safe. They protect the border very well. They shoot first, ask questions later. A gorilla permit in Uganda costs $600. It's like the Wild Wild West, anything goes. A permit in Congo only costs $400, and that's because it's really dangerous. I mean, you're going to the same area. It's the same gorillas. I chose Congo, and my plan was to drive from Rwanda into Congo. You don't fly into Congo. It's very dangerous. Airports don't abide by international standards at all. Like snakes on a plane, that's real in Congo. They find snakes on a plane often. They even found a crocodile on a plane. Very unfortunate. Small plane. It's a delicacy there, crocodiles. Anyway, someone smuggled a crocodile on it. As it was landing, the crocodile got loose, and everyone rushed the cockpit to get away from the crocodile. The plane went unbalanced and crashed, nosedived. Everyone died. But yeah, don't fly in Congo. People take rivers, which is not safe either. I purchased my permit about 6 months before I left. While I was planning the rest of my trips, I kept my eye on Congo. The rebels in Congo usually attack the rangers at least once or twice a year. They've already done it 3 times this year, so I didn't think it'd happen again. I was a little surprised when it happened in April. 6 rangers were killed, and then they did it again in May. I kept telling myself it's going to stop and settle down. It didn't stop and settle down. It happened again in June. It's actually the worst violence in a decade. So about a week before I left, I was starting to freak out. Hell yeah, I was scared. After the rebels kidnapped some tourists, they decided to cancel all permits until 2019. So I bought another permit for Uganda. I mean, it's the same area. It's about 10 miles down the road. I didn't feel much safer. If the rebels want to get you, they're going to get you. That border's not protected. I booked a flight to Entebbe, Uganda. It's about a 9-hour drive to where the gorillas are. Or you can take about a 1-hour flight. I decided to book that 1-hour flight, and I thought I was good to go. Well, I thought wrong. Right when I got to Uganda, first they confiscated my drone, then they notified me that my flight's canceled. I have to meet the park rangers at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, so I figured, alright, I'll just rent a car, and I'll make the 9 to 10 hour drive. When I went to rent a car, they just told me no. I'm like, what do you mean no? They wouldn't let me rent a car. Told me I had to hire a driver and armed security. So I'm sitting there arguing with them, and they kept thinking I was in the United Nations. I kept telling them, look man, just because I'm some white dude doesn't mean I'm in the UN. Finally, I just took out my phone and was like, alright, fuck this. I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket to Rwanda, maybe they'll let me rent a car there. It's closer anyway. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm basically just getting out the plane in some random country in Africa right now. I'm winging it. I asked all the locals on the plane what is the best way to get to the gorillas. Someone suggested I take a taxi. They said it's the best way. I take it to the border. And told me I'd be crazy to rent a car. When I look over and I see that taxi, That's the exact moment I realized I'm not really in a taxi. I'm just in some guy's car. When I got to the airport in Kagame, I assumed all cabs were unmarked. That's all I saw. Man, what a day.
So once we get to the border, I hop out and then I would walk through customs there.
Sorry?
Once we get to the border,
Yeah, you pass the customers.
so I'll just walk through customs and then there should be a taxi that could take me to Burundi.
Yeah. You have to cross the border. So the
Does
other
it take
side-
long to cross the border?
No.
Cool.
It's just Rwanda here. You pass Rwanda.
Yeah,
Then you find taxis there. It's waiting.
great.
Yeah. It's like airport.
What's going on right now is this guy's driving me about 3 hours to the border of Rwanda and Uganda. I'm going to get out, walk across the border. I guess I'm going to find another cab, and it's going to take me to the lodge that I'm staying at tonight. I'm surprised I'm holding it together pretty well and not freaking out. I think I was just kind of taking it all in. I couldn't believe I was actually here right now. I've read so much about this area. I've always wondered what it's like, the significance of this place. It's surreal being here.
I'm so excited.
There's a movie called Gorillas in the Mist. It's about Diane Fosse and the mountain gorillas. We just passed her cabin. That's where she was murdered in 1985. And that's where she's buried right now, alongside some of her favorite gorillas. Ellen DeGeneres just funded a brand new building for the Diane Fosse Gorilla Fund. Currently, they've been renting an old building, but they're going to own this one. They broke ground for it in February 2019.
It's a beautiful drive, huh?
Yeah. Beautiful, see?
The Rwandan genocide between the Hutus and Tutsis began on April 6, 1994. It went on for 100 days until July 16th. Those are some of the darkest days of mankind. Approximately 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were killed. And a majority of those killings were with machetes. Neighbors killed their neighbors. Some Hutu husbands even murdered their Tutsi wives out of fear of their own life. Priests and nuns were even convicted of killing those who sought sanctuary in churches. Hundreds of thousands of women were raped by AIDS patients at the Hutus released from the hospital. Probably the most fucked up thing is, this went on for 100 days in 1994, and world leaders everywhere just watched and did nothing. Bill Clinton has called it one of his greatest regrets. All this is just hitting me while I'm in the car right there. What I should have been doing is getting on the phone and setting up a ride for someone to pick me up when I get dropped off at the border. Paul Kagame is credited with ending the genocide. He led the RPF through the Virunga Mountains. That's where we are right now. They took a strategic position here, regrouped before defeating the Hutus. Paul Kagame started off as a Tutsi rebel from Rwanda. He joined forces with the Ugandan rebels to overthrow their government. He ended up being their chief of intelligence. After that, he came back to Rwanda, stopped the genocide, and then after that, him and Uganda both backed the rebels in Zaire and overthrew the dictator that was there. The Democratic Republic of Congo was actually called Zaire for a bit. The dictator at that time was the one who changed his name, so when they overthrew him, they changed it back to the DRC. That was in 1997. Paul Kagame has one hell of a resume. He's probably the most successful general alive right now, and the most badass man that you've probably never even heard of. Today, he's the president of Rwanda. If I had to describe him in one word, I'd use intense. Today's a new Rwanda, and it looks good, it's thriving. There are a lot of people here that have seen and experienced some of the most horrific things, and that's something they carry with them every day. I'm sure some days are harder than others, and I imagine they struggle with it. My heart goes out to them. I was thinking about them while I was driving through the Virunga Mountains, and still sometimes I think about them today. See those mountains over there? It might look pretty, but it's one of the most dangerous places in the world. That's Congo. Specifically, it's the Kivu region. Over 5 million people have died here in the past 20 years. Right now, they currently have the worst Ebola outbreak in history. There's well over 100 different militia and rebel groups, and unfortunately, some of those are children soldiers.